Howdy, folks. This is Doc Owen. You are listening to the Doc Owen Show. We are glad to have you. Welcome back or welcome aboard. Exciting show tonight. Lots to cover. Interesting interview with Bexar County District Attorney Nico LaHood. Goes across several subjects. You are reminded that we are all over social media as Doc Owen Show, DocWenShow. Find us, like us, follow us, zap us, do whatever that particular app says. The best place to, in addition, is to go to our blog, the DocOwenShow.com, and check us out there. Get connected. We always start the show in a very traditional manner with an inspirational note from Miss I'm a Surefire. And we will just dive straight into it this evening. So, Ima, take it away.
Howdy, folks. As usual, tonight's quote comes from InspirationalDaily.com. And it's from a gentleman by the name of Elon Musk. Everybody probably has heard about him in the news. He's that maker of that electric car and other scientific things. He's like this really brilliant man making a lot of money doing good. His quote tonight is, if something is important enough, even if the odds are against you, you should still do it.
I completely agree with that. Kind of the driving force behind the Doc Owen Show. Well done, Elon. And I have a leadership quote tonight from our friends at Crowned Grace International. It is from the good book of Philippians. And it says, each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. And if you listened to our show last week, you'll understand a bit more about where I'm coming from on that. We had a nice conversation about benefit corporations, which is a new business entity out there. Uncle Bocce couldn't be with us tonight. He had a previous engagement, but he did give us his wisdom in the form of his Uncle Bocce's brief, which is a little trip through history, picking up where we left off last week. And I encourage you to listen closely and be prepared to take notes. Bocce's pretty good at doing his research, so take it away, Uncle Bocce. As always, Uncle Bocce is in the house.
Yeah.
There you go. And we are ready for Uncle Bocce's brief. Take it away, sir.
Yes, sir. Happy to do it. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the West African society at the point of European contact. You know, what was the society that was there that became part of the slave trade? Okay, so that's what we're going to look at.
Help myself and the audience with where are we in terms of the United States Constitution before we became a country. Where are you with this? You're in the 1600s.
This is still the this is like in the 16 and then into the 1700s.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
That's about where we are.
So this predates. So this is when we're like bringing slavery in, and
right,
and we're setting up the farms, and we're growing our exports back to Europe through all of that kind of jazz.
Exactly.
And we're doing it with as cheap a labor as possible, called slave labor, prior to becoming a country.
Yes, sir.
All right, I just wanted to make sure. I thought that was the case.
Yeah, we're still prior to becoming a country.
West Africa.
But I thought it was...
Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was important that we understood the background of those peoples that were brought into slavery.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, absolutely.
So that's why I'm saying we're going to look at West African society.
There you go.
Now, most people don't know about African civilization. On the eve of exploration, the West African peoples were at the point of where they had very powerful kingdoms in the West African area. They produced beautiful sculpture. They had complex trade between the different tribes.
Yeah.
They had a tremendous amount of wealth. And they also had centers of advanced learning. Now, this is something most people don't understand. So I want to erase that idea that the blacks from Africa
were downtrodden.
just downtrodden savages.
Right.
They were not.
Interesting.
All right. So
All the more reason for them to object. Keep going.
Exactly. And you know, the Europeans gave Africa the name the Dark Continent. It was definitely a misnomer because Africa's cultural heritage runs very, very deep.
I think it was a reference more to the color of the
It may
indigenous
be,
people.
Well, it may be, but I think it was because it was so unexplored so much. I think that might have been the reason why they called it, because they didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'll buy it.
So there were 3 empires in the West African area, you know, along the coast there.
Yep.
There was a very large and wealthy empire called Ghana. Now, today there is an actual country named Ghana.
Yeah.
This was kind of like in that area,
right.
but it was those people.
Right.
There was also the Malis.
Yeah.
That was a huge kingdom.
Wow.
Okay, as well. And there was another one that most people aren't very familiar with. They called the Songhay. And they are some of the greatest kingdoms that the world has ever known. Okay? In fact, so advanced were they. Have you heard of Timbuktu? Timbuktu and Tyler too?
A lot.
Timbuktu. Well, Timbuktu is like just on the border from what is now today Mali and Algeria.
Okay.
Okay. I guess Timbuktu is funny, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's where it is. And it was arguably, at the time, the world's oldest, it had the world's oldest university.
Get out of
here.
here.
Yes, sir. And it was the intellectual center of its age. So understand, I'm just trying to build a cultural idea.
Timbuktu was?
Timbuktu was, yes. And it was part of Mali. It's right on the edge where the Sahara ends and where West Africa starts. It's right there.
Man,
Okay.
the things we don't know.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, primarily, these kingdoms and these peoples in West Africa were agricultural. That was their primary thing. Okay?
You mentioned wealth earlier. Is that how they built their wealth? I mean, obviously they didn't pump oil because there was no use for it.
No, but we'll see a little bit later on.
But it was,
exactly how they got their wealth.
Okay.
Yeah, but they were very advanced.
That is so new. Yeah. That's so new to me. That's cool.
Right.
That's cool. I like it when I learn something.
So they were primarily agricultural, but the West Africans, they had many occupations, and this is how they lived.
Okay.
Some of them were hunters.
Okay.
Fishers.
Yeah.
Merchants. Now, as merchants, which is very important, they traded with other African communities in the area,
right,
as well as with Europeans and the Arabs. So they had a very healthy trade situation going on. They also mined, and this is where they get a lot of their wealth. They mined gold
and silver,
salt, iron, copper, even diamonds.
Yeah.
So
still big today. Got it.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly.
Huge. Yep.
And African art.
But at that when you're talking about, they owned it.
Yes.
In other words, it was theirs before they got occupied by the Europeans, before they were colonized and lost their diamond mines and their gold mines. And
that is correct.
How interesting.
That is correct. So their art was primarily based on religion, which a lot of art is throughout the world.
Yep, still today.
Okay,
right.
And each community had its artisans. They were skilled at producing works that would please the tribal gods.
Okay,
so
sure.
That's where they were coming from. Now, here's a very interesting about the Africans. The center of African society was the family.
Okay.
That was the center. That was their building stone. Just as the United States. So that was not unfamiliar to them. And we see today, in contrast,
That seems to really historically, that's been a worldwide concept. I mean, we heard the same things about the Hispanics. We hear the same thing about South America. You know,
Exactly.
as time goes on, culturally, okay.
yeah,
And
exactly.
you're right. That's a very
it
key
is.
point
It's very important.
because we've talked on the show about the problems caused by the erosion of the family unit.
Absolutely, especially in the black community.
Bingo.
Especially.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now the Africans, as far as family is concerned, what they considered all individuals who traced their roots to a common ancestor, that was family.
Oh, okay.
So the families were very, very large.
So what we now call okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, and comprised hundreds of members. Like the Native American tribes,
Yep.
okay, there's tremendous diversity among the peoples of West Africa.
Okay.
Because you had different kingdoms, you had different ethnic groups, even though they were all Negroid. Some of them traced their heritage through the father's bloodline, others through the mother's bloodline.
Okay.
And that even goes back to the ancient Hebrews.
Right.
Because they had, in Christianity, they had the dual bloodlines.
Right.
Bloodline of David, which came through Mary, and the bloodline of Abraham,
Right.
which came through Joseph. So some of them were democratic. Some of them had very strong leaders.
Wait. Are those two different groups?
They're
The
not-
Democratics and the strong leaders?
This is in general.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
All
in
right.
general. When I say democratic, I mean they more or less had the kind of rule that we experience.
That we
today.
participate. It was
participate.
participatory.
Right.
Not tyrannical.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Most African tribes had a noble class.
Yep.
Okay, just like most other civilizations. And slavery in Africa itself predates written history. So it goes back a long, long time.
So wait a minute. I know we don't have much time left, but so there was slavery amongst the Africans.
Yes.
So there was a lot of wealth. There was a noble class. There was a ruling class. There, et cetera, et cetera. But some of that was produced by slaves owned and operated by local Africans. Is that right?
Exactly.
Is that what I hear you saying?
It's not the plantation slavery that we understand.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect spot.
It was more family oriented.
You
see,
okay. All right.
And it usually, if you
Could
were a
you work
slave,
your way
it
up
was
and out
because
of it?
War.
But could you work your way up and out of it? If you were a good artist or
Yes.
you were a good
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Good cutting off point. Uncle Bachi, thank
Yes,
you very
sir.
much.
You're very welcome.
Tell the troops where to find you, how to find you.
Hey, you can find me at Uncle Bachi. That's UNCLEBACI at DocOwenShow.com.
And he's also now in the Twitterverse.
I'm in the Twitterverse, absolutely.
Uncle
At
Uncle
_ Bachi. That's me.
Wahoo. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Uncle Bachi.
All right, sir.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 877-212-5898. Again, 877-212-5898. That's 877-212-5898. 877-212-5898.
All right, and now as they used to say, coming up, uninterrupted by commercial breaks, is a conversation with a friend of the show, good friend of the show, and a well-known guest of ours, Mr. Nico LaHood. So we'll just take it away and see you on the other side.
You know, Nico, I heard that you gave a commencement address at San Antonio College.
I did. I was honored. They asked me. And you know what? That's a funny deal. Because they said, will you give the commencement address at San Antonio College? I was sure. I went there for a while, you know. I think they asked me to leave, to be honest with you. And
your time's up.
Yeah, man. And there's only so many basics you can take. Well, and so I was honored to go.
It's a comfortable environment. It's a great environment. They do great work.
Oh, no, I love it. I'm a huge supporter of SAC.
Me too.
And all those schools. But I didn't realize, how big it was.
Right.
It was awesome. I was excited.
Like how many people you mean?
Well, I thought I was going to talk to 200, 300 maybe people.
Right.
I mean, the whole Freeman Coliseum was filled. So when we're driving to the location, I go, where's the graduation? And one of the folks going with me from the office was like, it's at the Freeman. I go, why is it at the Freeman? And he's like, and then, I didn't know it was SAC, it was all the other colleges affiliated with them too. And I see people, I was like, is this the rodeo or Spurs game or what's going on here? And it was amazing. I really enjoyed it.
And that gets you going. I mean,
I don't get
the bigger the crowd.
Yeah,
no.
It's just an opportunity to plant good seed and to hopefully give a message that if it resonates with one person, then it was worth it.
But they gave you an honorary.
It's right
degree?
there. Yes, they did. They said, so it was nice. It was
cool.
It was a pleasant. I was prepared to do it anyway. I was looking forward to. I'll speak the same way to one person or 1,000. You're going to get the same Nico LaHood and the same message. But it was a nice surprise.
And by the way, our audience recognizes that.
Oh, they did?
The feedback I've gotten is they really enjoy our conversation.
Oh, you and I?
Yeah. I mean, I'm supposed to tone it down and let you talk more, but that ain't going to happen.
It was out there. I should be interviewing you.
No, I haven't. But I have a real close friend that was in the graduating class this year, and he referenced the fact, and he listens to the show.
Oh, good.
And so he, a young guy. So
well, it was people. They commencement speeches are funny. You have to be real careful. You want them to be meaningful, not too long.
Right.
I just wanted it to be impactful. So of course I share my testimony. I'm always going to give them a good word. I was very impressed that they opened with a prayer.
Yes.
Our schools are so.
It's old school.
Correct.
No,
it is. I was impressed all around with it.
Good.
Not only because it's my alma mater as well.
Sure.
But I was very impressed. They mentioned God. They talked about values and principles. They prayed. It wasn't some BS, politically correct, because I don't like that stuff. I was still going to talk the way I'm going to talk.
Sure.
Don't ask me back if you don't like it. But it was nice. I really enjoyed it.
I don't want to say it bothers me because I would have been prepared for it, but the fact that kind of, I won't say it took you back, but it made you weren't necessarily expecting it to start that way.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I've done enough graduation speeches. I mean, I've been honored to be asked to multiple high school, grade school, elementary school, and then of course higher education as well. And all of them, not many, unless it's a private university. But when they started to
not good.
Their prayer, I looked up. I was like, wow, I love this, man. And so I just, of course, when someone's praying, I'm going to stand in agreement or sit in agreement with them.
Sure.
And I loved it.
Well,
it was really neat.
I wanted to mention to you the feedback that I've gotten because you've asked in the past.
Oh, thank you.
So,
on the
show.
Oh, the show.
The commencement. They I said he fell asleep. But no.
That's the whole purpose. At least he wasn't disruptive.
I wouldn't do that to you. No, he said it was real good.
Oh, good.
It was real good. What do you know about a couple of current events?
Okay.
Having to do with young people.
Okay. I might know nothing about it, but I'll give you my opinion.
You might. Well, I think you'll give me. I think that's true. I think once I explain the circumstances.
Sure.
Do you know anything about this student at the U of H that has been suspended from her student government activities for posting "All Lives Matter" on her Facebook page?
I did not hear about that, but I think that's ridiculous.
I agree. I agree.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, look, I've said
Not
this.
suspending from school.
Yeah, I know, but it's
arm's
just
length from the school.
I mean, didn't they make some beauty pageant do the same thing? I mean, to me, it's asinine and it's absolutely ridiculous because. So you can say Black Lives Matter or Brown Lives Matter or White Lives Matter or whatever matter, but you can't say All Lives Matter? I mean, that's so stupid. All lives matter. And I had a meeting with local people that represent the organization. And I just shared with them. I go, look, let's just sit down and reason together. Let's
the
talk.
Black Lives Matter
Sure.
people?
Somebody that's affiliated with their group.
Okay.
And him and I have had good working relations in the past.
Right.
I haven't always agreed with some of his behavior when he's in public. And I told him that sitting where you're sitting,
good.
Face to face, man to man, eye to eye, I shared my feelings with him.
Sure
and
you
I
did.
thought
I'm
it was
sure
more
you did.
appropriate. I promise you I did.
Yeah.
And I said, if Black Lives Matter to the organization, well, we went through 2 months of 10 murders, black on black murders. Where were the marching in the street? So it appears to me changed the name of the group to Black Lives Matter only when law enforcement's involved. I go, that's my perception. That's my opinion. If I'm wrong, prove to me I'm wrong. I'm open-minded to being wrong. I promise you, I'm broken like everybody else.
But if that's your perception,
that's my perception.
It's a bigger perception. I mean,
maybe I'm going to talk about me. But then there's two
right.
people that agree. That's fine. Right. But I shared that with him, and he said, "Well, it's not that way." And I go, "That's fine." Now, or Black Lives Matter also. That's different too. But when you say, I mean, literally, an individual at at a meeting we had at a church talking about, after Baton Rouge and relations and how to talk and communication and what's going on and answer questions about grand jury.
It's a hot and touchy topic.
Well, to me, I'm just going to respond in truth.
I agree.
Well, an individual was wearing a shirt. It said all blue Black Lives Matter written from top to bottom because it's on a T-shirt.
Okay.
All was lined out in white. Blue was lined out in white, and Black Lives Matter wasn't. And I told this person, I said, now what message are you giving? It took everything in my power not to call you out in front of the whole congregation because we were there in a church, and we had a panel discussion with the chief was there, myself, and other people.
Was on the front of his shirt?
I was on the front of his shirt, and he's at the microphone talking, asking questions, and he was acting appropriate. He wasn't acting like a fool.
I understand.
In this, but I said, but what? Now you're there to talk about relations and to have communication, and you're wearing this shirt. What seed are you planting into that meeting?
Right.
You're not. And he's a man that professes to be a believer. He's when you sit him down one-on-one, he's reasonable. I think he gets emotional when he gets into a group, like a lot of people do. But we had a wonderful conversation, and we reasoned together, and I gave him reasons why I believe the way I believe. So, of course, Black Lives Matter. Right? They all matter to me. Justice matters to me. So if someone says justice matters, that covers everything.
Sure.
Truth matters. I'd like to start a group that says truth matters. And I just thought of it right now, so don't steal my ideas.
It's already done.
Well, there you go. I have witnesses on the radio show. Truth matters, and because truth, like I tell people, and I say this over and over again when I go speak. If I am laser focused on truth, then it will take me where it takes me. If it lands on the side of law enforcement, so be it. If it lands on the side of the citizen, so be it. If it lands on the side of Republican, Democrat, Independent, Atheist, Christian, whatever, I don't care.
That's the reason our tagline is delivering truth to youth.
Oh, that's what you heard?
Yeah,
your tagline
that's
is?
the show.
Oh, well, there you go.
Truth to youth. But part of that came from you.
Oh, okay, good.
Way back in the day.
I didn't know that.
As that being a key word.
But it's real because there's certain groups of individuals, in my opinion, these days, they don't care about truth. They have their agenda. Right. On both sides, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm not... The extreme right, the extreme left...
No, there's plenty of guilt to spread.
Yeah, they're nuts. They're crazy. Look, we need to reason together. Here's my goal. Here's what I tell people. I want order and safety for our community, for everybody. I want order for everybody in our community because you cannot run a town, municipality, country, state, any organization. You cannot have a society without order. You have to have order. How you attain order is a different story. So I believe in order, and I believe in safety. Now, if you don't believe in order and safety, then we're just not going to. We're going to bump heads from the beginning. Yeah. If you believe in order and safety, and I believe in order and safety, now how do you believe? How do we get there? Now we might disagree on how to get there and what the definitions are of truth and what's order to you, what's order to me, what's safety to you, what's safety to me, who does it apply to? We can discuss all that.
Well, but somewhere in there's middle ground. At least you've got the terms, the big picture.
Well, look, but truth is truth, and the problem is in today's world, truth is relative. My reality is not your reality. That's stupid. That's the postmodernist mentality. That's the leftist mentality.
We talked about that.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Look, all the time, every case we've been involved in since I've been DA, even when I was a special prosecutor before, I've never had to, in my role as a prosecutor, I've never had to convince a jury that murder was wrong. Now, we might have to prove that this person is guilty of murder, but I've never had to convince one person that murder is wrong. None of the prosecutors, none of the 200 plus prosecutors that work in this office, none of them have told me and come back and said, man, Nico, I tried to convince this jury that sexually assaulting a child was wrong, and they just didn't agree with me. That never happened before. There's absolute truth. Sexual assault of a woman is wrong. Sexual assault of a child is wrong. Those are absolute truths. Murder is wrong. That's unjustifiable killing. Is wrong.
Perspective.
See, so these are absolute truths.
Absolutely correct.
But these are absolute truths. Okay. So we need to start. What are absolute truths? And our society has lost their moral compass as a whole.
Yep.
As a whole. So when you say my reality is not your reality, truth is relative. It's not relative. Truth is truth. Regardless of what you think about gravity, my friend, if you drop that bottled water, it's going to hit the ground. I don't care what you say, but my opinion is that it's going to float for 3 seconds, then levitate, and then go down. Well, I don't care what you think. Because the truth is it's going to fall straight to the ground the second you let go of it. The millisecond you let go of it. That's truth. And so we need to start from a position as what is truth really? It sounds weird, but I think we do, and I have a very specific opinion on what's wrong with that. So
and it goes, since you used the water example, it goes back to your uncanny, totally unreasonable reliance on facts.
Well, they've got to be accurate facts, right?
Okay.
Look. I can walk in. Here's the reality: you can walk into a room and see somebody shoot somebody, and you say they committed murder, but you missed the first 5 seconds where the person had a gun that didn't go off, and it went click, click, and then the person shot,
right.
Or they pulled a knife
and threw it and
they threw it and missed, or they said I'm going to kill you, and they reached behind their back and they just didn't get the gun out in time, and you see the person shoot in self-defense.
Right.
So, yes, you saw someone you walked in and you saw a portion of facts, but out of context, it's not the full picture and it's not the full truth.
Right.
So, this is a deep conversation that I'm happy to get involved in, but you seem like it's going over your head. So I'm just I had to teach you.
I love it.
No, I'm teaching.
It's all right. It's a ping pong match, man. It goes back and forth.
No, I'm teaching.
Okay, so you kind of agree. We're going to try to have this young lady that got suspended on the show. We're going to try to see if.
But what was the reason why they suspended her?
For posting All Lives Matter
okay, that's
on her
fine.
Facebook.
But is that what they said?
Yes,
because
they said it was a heinous statement to put. Those are their words. The student government, the president of the student government. It was all student government association driven, not the university, but the.
So it was a student government.
It was a student government deal, and she was an officer in the student government.
So it's a board of students.
Yes, sir.
But this is
who are these guys going to grow up to be? I mean, if that's the way they're running their who are they? Not
man. I would love to have 10 minutes with these fools.
I would too.
Not to hurt them, just to talk with them. Just to ask them questions. You have to meet. What I start with when this stuff like this irritates the crap out of me, I sit with someone and say, "Give me the reason. Explain to me how you got to your decision. Convince me. If I open my mind, convince me to think the way you do. Yeah. Be persuasive to me, and don't insult me. Don't call me names. Be persuasive. Speak with hopeful sentiment. Give me reason. Give me some common sense approach. And then when you ask people to
help me understand. When you
ask people to explain the why they believe the way they, because everybody should have a why.
Sure.
So many people we live in sound bites. We have a soundbite society, and they buy into rhetoric on both sides. I don't care what side you're on. I'm just giving a general example.
Right.
And when you ask them why you believe, why are you saying that soundbite, they have no idea. The vast majority of people. You should always be able to describe the why you take whatever position. I don't care what position it is. Why do you have that position? Don't just give me your position.
And in the not too recent past, I had to walk something back, as is said in the trade, and apologize to a group of people that I
Good for you,
work with,
meet
with once a month, because I went away and I did some homework, and I came back and I said,
But see, what
I
you
was
showed...
wrong.
No, but I love that. But hold on. I know we like to razz each other, but that's a humble spirit. That's very scriptural. You can't be persuaded by God or by anybody if you're not humble. An arrogant person is like talking over somebody. Think
Right.
about it. Think if you're trying to give instruction to someone, but they keep talking over you.
Right.
Well, then hold on. Let me. You won't let them. Arrogance is spiritually the same way. Spiritually, you're talking over someone because you think you have it right, and you're not.
And you're not open to
no.
right. That's the key. Is you're not open to their opinion, and you're not open. to
A humble
additional
spirit is a
input.
good
And so-
character trait.
Well, thanks.
And you don't have many, so that's a
No,
good,
and
that's good
it's
that you have.
intermittent. I just wanted, since it popped up.
It's every once in a while. You better take advantage of it.
Figured out. Better bring it to your attention.
Good for you, though. But you know what, though? I guarantee you gained credibility with that group, whatever group that was.
And as you know, probably so. But as you know, that wasn't the intent. The intent was. I just had to clean the record.
But exactly, but that wasn't the intent, but that's the result.
Yes, sir.
You see, there's twofers when you have a humble spirit.
Yeah.
Your intent was to stand in truth.
Yeah.
There's something about you that truth matters. So there's some. It's either based off faith, it's based off some worldview. Everybody's got some mindset. They have a worldview,
Yes,
a
sir.
philosophy. So something about you, the way you were raised, what you believe.
Very deep-seated.
I mean, I know that
It's
you're a
very
Christian.
deep-seated.
But
Yes,
my
sir.
point is, you are focused on truth. Well, when you stand in truth and you combine that with humility, it caused you to apologize. You repented, right? That's repentance.
Mm-hmm.
You said, hey, look, you know what? I'm wrong. I apologize. But guess what happens? The result is credibility.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, Doc? You know what? I'm open-minded. Now you have fertile soil because this group is going to be like...
They'll start thinking.
Absolutely.
They'll start thinking.
You probably have credibility with them.
Yeah.
I would think. I mean, you would have credibility with me if you did that with me.
Okay. Would you buy the coffee if I did?
Only if it's organic.
Okay.
You need to watch what you put in that body, guy.
Are you putting organic butter in your coffee if you're going to that?
I do grass-fed butter.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Grass-fed butter.
Grass-fed butter. It's
Okay.
actually healthy for you. You can research it.
I have.
It's
Bulletproof Coffee.
Bulletproof. Did you do it?
Yeah.
It's good, right?
I'm in. I love it.
You don't use any cream. You get the grass-fed. It's good
the
fats.
The grass-fed butter, coconut oil, the distilled coconut, the
That's right.
93% stuff.
Good for you.
I put a little bit. I cheat on you.
No, you
I
can
put a
use
little
some
bit of
coconut sugar.
vanilla in there.
Oh, that's fine.
Just to kind of
Yeah,
get up.
but you can do a little bit of organic coconut sugar. Is not bad either.
Okay. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I put
coconut palm
do a
sugar.
double shot of espresso with
Look
that
at
in
you.
there in the morning.
Good organic.
Espresso?
Is it bulletproof coffee or is it?
No, it's not. Or if I can find organic, I do. But I'm not reliant. I'm not real pure about that. I am about the butter, etc.
That's good.
Because butter upsets my stomach to begin with. Okay, so I don't know how we got.
I would get mental note audience. Butter upsets us.
So there's another thing there, student-wise too, about the DePaul University declined to have a fellow by the name of Ben Shapiro speak.
I know who Ben Shapiro is.
Ben Shapiro is
He's a sharp guy.
very, very smart young man.
Mhm, I know him.
Reminds me of Nico, LaHood.
No, that guy's over the top. He's sharp.
He knows his stuff.
Yeah. He's got that sarcasm, that intelligent wit sarcasm.
He's a writer. He's a blogger.
But he's very logical in his.
He knows his facts.
He knows his facts, man.
I
I haven't agreed with him on all his opinions. I've heard a number of them,
Right.
but a lot of them I do. I mean, he's a sharp guy.
He's pretty sharp.
Yeah.
Well, DePaul declined to have him speak
Was
on
he-
campus.
Who asked him to speak?
The Young Americans for Freedom were going to bring him in to speak, and they said it was a security issue. That
Why? Because Ben Shapiro causes
had
riots
caused
or what?
problems that other schools where he'd been, they'd had security issues.
The guy's
So
a little Jewish
you're-
boy, man. He's not going to do anything wrong. I mean, he's
That's right.
He's not a threat to
The only
anybody.
thing missing is the
Come
little
on,
round
man.
glasses.
That's ridiculous. So
Okay,
on that
so I'll
case,
set
you're
you up
saying-
with another one that's ridiculous.
okay.
I agree. No, I sort of knew we'd agree on both counts.
But so then would they say? Here's the
They're both of them to me are restricting free speech.
Well, here's what I would tell them. So would they stop high-level member of Black Lives Matter to talk?
No, absolutely not.
Well, you don't know that,
No,
but I
good
mean, we
question.
haven't tested.
Yes.
I'm just saying,
Right.
would you stop someone from whatever group it is? I'm just giving
Yeah.
examples because it's a current event.
A liberal. What you're saying
Anything.
is to try to show that it was because of his conservative bent.
I don't understand
Which
how
is
that's a
true.
security issue. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
I've never
Bad excuse.
heard that Ben Shapiro is a security issue.
Bad excuse.
Well,
Bad excuse.
I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, I guess they can take it as far as they want to take it. But that's a shame.
Can I take you? Do you know how far removed from corporate law are you?
I mean,
or-
I haven't studied it in 14 years, but I'm a finance major, and I mean, I've known enough to be dangerous.
There's a new form of corporation out there that I think you'll like.
Okay.
It's called a benefit corporation. And one of the members of my dissertation committee, Dr. Darrell Kane, is real hip on it, and she brought it to our attention. We talked to her yesterday. It's a corporation formed with a mission statement in mind that is of benefit to society. In other words,
kind of like a 501c3 or what?
Well, no, it's a for-profit corporation.
For-profit, and it's called
a benefit corporation.
Benefit corporation,
and
okay.
it's relatively new.
Okay.
I'm not sure that you can form one in Texas.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm going to find out.
Okay.
That was one of the things. I would think you might have seen something or heard something. But what happened was there were a couple of cases in particular where, like Ben & Jerry's ice cream and one other that were national, where the shareholders sued the corporation for spending too much money, basically on what they felt like were socially responsible issues. In other words, they were doing good things. They were cleaning up the San Antonio River.
Sure.
They were doing things that the shareholders didn't think they should do, and that those profits should have come to the shareholders and not gone to
they can sell their
the benefit
shares
of
and
the
just get out of the corporation and sell.
Well, but the courts ruled against the corporation, against their ability to do that, and said the shareholders were right, that they had invested to increase their returns, and it was the company's responsibility, the corporation's responsibility.
Yeah, but couldn't there be an argument back that increases goodwill of the company, and that's why their business is so successful, because people say that when they're buying that ice cream or that whatever, that a portion of it's coming back to the community, so let's keep buying the ice cream?
Yes, sir.
I mean,
that was the argument that lost.
Wow, okay.
I agree with you. So what they did was they went out and said, okay, we're going to set up a type of corporation that it is stated that these are the rules of the game.
Okay.
So that their shareholders can't come back and sue. And I didn't know whether you knew anything about that or not.
I have no
See,
zero.
to me, the law is great big. To you, the law is criminal.
The
law is not criminal.
Well, no. We have a civil
stay
section.
up to date.
We have a civil section too,
section.
so we also represent the county.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're the county attorney as well.
Okay. Well, good. That'll give you something to ask the civil guys about if they know anything about it.
Yeah, I haven't heard that here in Texas.
I don't think it's been approved to do in Texas.
Yeah.
There's 31 states that are offering benefit corporation. You can found a benefit corporation in those states.
So they have to change the statutes and everything.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's that involve?
I mean, you have to go
How
to
hard
the
is that different? How would one do that?
I mean, I would assume you'd go to the legislature like with anything else. And,
Okay.
the state reps and the senators would come together.
So you got a politic for it?
Yeah, and then you'd have to obviously convince people that it's going to be a benefit to the whole state. And it's
Okay.
And then, of course, it has to be approved, and lieutenant governor's involved. I mean, it's a process. I mean, when you're trying to get laws changed...
And it really would take lawyers to do that because they'd understand the ins and outs.
Right. I mean, obviously, you want some advice. Look, like open carry law here. I mean, they went through the same process.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot of laws...
Well, see, I knew the activists on that, and they weren't necessarily lawyers, so you could have both.
But see,
you'd have both.
They are advocating for a position...
Advocates.
Right, and so you're dealing
right.
with a bunch of folks that work for the state reps and for the senators and things of that nature. So you don't necessarily have to have a lawyer involved. Some lawyers have to be involved at some point just to give advice.
Sure.
But sometimes they don't, and then that's when laws come out and they're not really fully thought through. And so then you kind of clean them up the next session around. So
okay. So I knew you'd know how it worked.
Well, I mean, the logistics of it, sure.
Okay.
We're involved in that kind of stuff as well. Because there's some things that interest district attorneys' offices, changing penalty ranges, things of that nature that... laws.
You're not just about enforcement.
Well, no, we're about seeking justice, right? That's our oath.
Okay.
So
I give you every chance.
Well, no, I'm just telling you. I'm consistent. You can ask me 100 times and give me the same answer. So yes, in seeking justice, do we enforce laws? Absolutely, we do.
Right.
Sure, we do. But we also do the right thing, meaning that if somebody was wrongfully accused, well, then we should do the right thing. If someone was rightfully accused, what is the proper outcome for the case? Is it prison? Is it death penalty? Is it probation? Is it dismissal? What is the proper outcome depending on the severity of the incident? So,
I probably, because of our relationship, I probably should pay a little more attention. But the criminal law, it's a tough beat. It's a tough beat.
It's tough. Sure.
I respect you for what you do, and still maintain some degree of normalcy and a sense of humor and because it's tough.
Well, I mean, the cases we see. If I tell people, if you hang out with us for
I'm not as tough as you are. I have to stay.
No, man, I'm just. It's, you got to be tough spiritually as well, because I mean, it'll wear on you for any lawyer.
Yes.
But what we see in this office is we see the worst of the worst sometimes. Things that don't always make the media, the everyday stuff. I mean, children that are abused, children that are neglected, children that are. God, there's low self-esteem, death to children. I mean, just horrific. We see some pretty bad stuff here.
I know.
And so if you don't stay focused on something, for me, it's the Lord, For other people, it's easy for a lawyer to do other things to kind of mask whatever they're dealing with. But for me, it's my walk with Christ.
National topic.
Okay. We're moving on to national topics.
Yeah.
That's called signposting, by the way. You just signposted.
I did?
Yes. You're telling the audience and you're telling me what you're about to talk about. It's a trial technique. You did good. Good job.
It is a trial technique.
It's signposting.
Everybody's heads up.
Yeah.
At the DN, I got more involved in the flap afterwards because I've not really paid attention to either. We didn't watch either the DNC nor the RNC. I just couldn't take it from gavel to gavel on either side.
Right.
But there's been a flap afterwards. Are you familiar with? Are you aware of this flap between Trump and one of the speakers? Because it's close to things that we've talked about more often.
Are you talking about the dad of the
dad of
soldier?
The soldier.
I mean, I don't know all the details, but I know enough. He was ridiculing Trump or whatever.
He was ridiculing Trump. He was giving Trump a hard time for his Muslim ban, which nobody seems to remember the fact that what he said was, yes, a ban on Muslims until we can figure out who they are. He didn't say just forever. He just said we need a better system. That if we're going to bring in this many, let's figure out who they are. How do we vet them? Is the term. So this guy went off on Trump, and Trump, being the Donald, fired back.
What did he do?
And that he got offended and really came back on the guy hard that he hadn't told the truth about the Donald, and Donald did make sacrifices and yada. So they went back and forth and back and forth. As a result, in the 2 or 3 days spin, it has come to light that this guy that gave the speech at the DNC is a Muslim Brotherhood operative and has been working hard on passing Sharia law and
Are you serious?
Yes, sir.
See, that kind of crap drives me insane.
I knew it would. He's a lawyer who sells passports. He sells.
Nobody asks the right questions. When you get drawn into a discussion about Muslims, it's a red herring. I tell people, don't get into a. We all know peaceful Muslims.
Right.
I have a dear friend of mine.
I've got where I don't even use the word based on
I have a dear friend of mine who is labeled a Muslim, right?
Yeah.
He wears that label. And I went to him, I said, you don't know him, his name is Gino. And I trust him with my kids, and I've known him for 2 decades. I go, Gino, what do you think about Sharia law? He goes, what's that, Baba? I go, what do you mean, what's that? He goes, what's Sharia law? I go, you serious? You don't know what Sharia law is? That's the nucleus of what you... And I told him what it is because he has a little daughter that he is crazy about. He's a great daddy. And he said, F that. I won't say the word. He goes, there's no way in hell I would ever let that happen to my daughter. I go, I get it. He's like, well, my daddy's Catholic and my mom was Muslim. And so he's an Americanized person version that wears a label that doesn't understand the mentality and the
just
ideology.
Like the officer that died fighting. We
don't know. So he's wearing a label. He's a Muslim. I don't know what that means. I mean, it's just like someone saying, "Oh, look at that Christian committed this crime." Well, they're not following any Christian tenets. If there's some dumbass that blows up an abortion clinic, you cannot rely on Scripture to justify that behavior. You just can't.
Nope.
I don't care what anybody says.
No.
If you belong to the Westboro Baptist, those idiots, and you have signs on the corner saying God hates whatever, what Scripture? Show me the Scripture that you're following. So just because people wear a label, I don't listen. I go, let's get deeper. Let's peel the onion back. Let's not be so rhetoric driven, and let's not worry about labels. Let's talk about tenets. I never talk about Muslims. That is irrelevant. Being a Muslim is irrelevant to me. Now let's talk about Islam. That's a different ballgame.
Right.
I would ask that daddy, Mr. Khan, what are your position on Sharia law? Do you renounce Sharia law? Do you renounce ISIS and the Taliban and Hezbollah? Do you renounce the Muslim Brotherhood?
Right.
And if he says no, then everything he says is
no
null and
value.
void to me. None.
I agree.
Zero.
I agree.
I mean, I don't understand why it's that hard. It's that difficult. Look, I'll give you my opinion now. I don't care what people think about it. This is my opinion. I am not supportive of bringing in a bunch of refugees without any type of background check, and we cannot background check them. There's no way. And whenever someone says, how can you take that position? I go, well, let me ask you about your position. Here, and write this. Tell everybody that supports bringing in 500% more refugees, okay, or as many as they want. I ask them the same question, so there's no trick attack. How many homeless people do you have in your home? Oh, 0. Why? So you want to bring homeless people to our country, which is our home, but you have none in your home. Okay. Do you lock your door? You do. Why do you lock your door? Because you don't want people coming in without your permission and under your terms. Do you have a fence around your yard? Oh, you do. Why? Do you live in a gated neighborhood? Oh, really? Why? Do you see my point? The hypocrisy is insane. Do I believe, for me personally, as a Christian, we should help refugees if they are truly being treated the way they're being? Yes, we should set up an asylum in their country. I think as a world community, we come together, we spend resources, we protect them, and we let them, we establish safe zones where they're at. Because they're coming over here, none of them are making allegiance to our Constitution. No, who's going to pay for them? What do we do next? What's happened? They don't have a language. There's no acclimation to our culture. We're not going to adjust to their culture. They need to adjust to our culture. My grandfather did it when he came over from Lebanon. My mom's great-great-great-grandparents, when they came from Mexico, we're all immigrants. I get it.
Yep.
Unless you're Native American, you're an effing immigrant. Okay,
right.
How about that? Write that down. But we've got to do it the right way. And under today's standards, we know that we are targets. I don't get it. It's not that hard. Everybody, it's all fun and games until it applies to them.
Right.
And it's a real common sense analysis. I mean, it's not to be mean. I just care about your kids. I care about your grandkids. I care about everybody's kids and grand. I don't want anybody to go through what my family's gone through, losing a loved one to violent crime, regardless of the source of the violence.
Right.
I don't want anybody to go through that.
Right.
And we're seeing it over and over again, and we're letting our guard down because when you combine deception with political correctness, then you have France. Then you have Germany.
Right.
And all someone has to do is study Europe. Just study Europe.
Right. I did a...
all of them. I get it drives me insane, man.
Why do you think I asked you?
Well, you probably set me up. You guys are feeding meat to the sharks, right? No, but I think it's reasonable.
It is reasonable. I want the young people that we talk to, want them to hear I want them to hear the passion in your voice because you're a bright young man. I'm an old guy that it's too easy for them to go there he goes again.
I promise you. You look at Germany and France and England and all the. Why do you think that Brexit vote was? You really think that was about economy?
No way.
That was them trying to take their culture back.
Absolutely, that's what it was.
Look, and that is not a slight towards a group of people. That's a slight towards an ideology.
Yeah.
Any ideology. If Christianity stood for what Islam stands for, I wouldn't be a Christian.
No,
I wouldn't be a Christian. I would not be a Christian.
Right.
I mean, and when you look at if all it takes is for someone to truly, without blindfolders, forget your political agendas on either side.
Right.
Just study Sharia Law.
Study it.
Study the Quran, study the Hadith, and study the Sirah.
Right.
These are the three texts of Islam.
And then get back to it.
And then we'll talk. After you study it, then we can talk. Because if you haven't studied it, then I'm talking with a certain understanding. The other person is talking with another understanding.
Right.
I keep my mouth shut in my personal life until I study an issue, and then I get educated, and then I have a dialogue.
Right.
And then we can agree to disagree or agree to agree. It's okay. But when you start insulting, you didn't hear me insult one person right now.
No.
But what I do is I am militant against evil. Militant.
Nice word.
And let me tell you this. Under Sharia law, and this you can look it up, even Sharia scholars will tell you, they kill homosexuals. Whether you support the homosexual lifestyle or not is irrelevant. The people are precious, and God loves them. And I did a post on my Facebook about it. And you saw the post.
Yes, sir.
And so they kill them. I would never stand for that. Women are treated like property. Yeah. They can be beaten for insubordination. They don't inherit land or property like men do. Yes. They believe in genital mutilation because they're not supposed to enjoy sex.
Right.
They can only marry one man. The man can marry 4 women.
Right.
I mean, they can't testify in their own rape trial. A woman can't even be raped, Doc, unless she has the witness of 4 men. That's insanity. I have 2 daughters. You would have to take my last breath before I stand back and let that happen to one of my children or to your children.
Right.
All of us should feel the same way.
Absolutely.
Women have value. I mean, to my God, to in the Christian beliefs, women are extremely valued. They're precious.
You're just going up. You're just doing the short list.
Oh man, that was the Cliff Note version. I mean, it's worse. And so when people are trying to set up and argue for Sharia courts to displace the Constitution, that is insanity.
I know it is.
Go start your own country.
I totally know that it is.
And then here's what I challenge young people to do: study our founding fathers. Study the Mayflower Compact. Study this stuff. You need to study and know what our foundation is, and then make your own opinion of it.
That's exactly what Trump should have done before he fired back. And
Trump's style he's not my style. Look, I mean,
there's no.
He's not.
It's all his own. But the point is,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong in a lot of things. He's wrong in some things. He's not wrong in everything.
He's got pretty good instinct.
Yeah,
he's got very good instinct.
I just encourage people to follow truth, and if you follow truth. If truth leads you to Hillary, then God bless you.
Right.
If truth leads you to Trump, that's fine. But guess what? It doesn't matter who it is. If we don't get national security right, if we don't get this issue with Islam,
there's some things going on that are critical. Irrespective of
if we don't get it right, I don't care what your opinion is on abortion, on same-sex marriage, on any other issue. If we don't get immigration and refugee and national security and Islam,
it's all together for me.
None of it matters if we don't get that right. We have to get that right.
Yeah,
have to.
Yeah. And it's soon.
It's what?
Soon. We have to get it right soon. Very soon.
Oh, like immediately. Right. I mean, we do. And so here's what I tell people.
Right.
I don't talk politics unless it's personal, one-on-one, because of my position. I mean, I'm here to be the DA, and Lady Justice wears a blindfold, and so I talk on issues. If you ask me my opinion about an issue, I'll talk about the issue.
I'm pretty good about that, right?
Oh, you good about it? Okay. Well, I'm not going to advocate for a candidate.
No. I don't.
I'm going to talk about, but I wouldn't anyway, even if you did. I'm going to talk about an issue. I'm just telling you, don't get offended. Look at him. He's so sensitive over here. But I'm going to talk about issues. So here's what I tell people. Whatever your worldview is, ask yourself the why you think you take a position on an issue. And then once you can answer the why to yourself and articulate it to somebody else, then you match up what you believe on an issue with the candidate.
With who?
And go down the line. And then you're going to prioritize, this issue is primary to me. Then here's the secondary issue. Then here's the third issue. And then you have to prioritize. Because no candidate's going to agree with you on every issue. So whether you're Republican and you're like all in for whatever Republican candidate, or you're a Democrat and you're all in for whatever Democratic candidate is there, you can't tell me that you agree with everything that any candidate does on either side. Come on. So you have to make this analysis.
I'm not sure I agree with everything that you...
You probably don't.
Believe in.
Yeah, you might not.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe not. We don't know.
We've not hit it.
We'll get there soon.
We will.
And then we'll have a nice debate for the audience.
Duke it out a little bit.
Yeah, man.
I know you need to go to work, and I appreciate your time.
No, it's a pleasure, David.
You know, these are very, very meaningful.
Well, I'm not short of opinions.
To the audience.
Well, I
want you to know that the feedback
I'm humbled by that.
Is way too strong. I have to tone it down. I say, no, he's really not that good.
Well, I'm humbled. And all joking aside, I'm humbled by that. Look, I've been through some life. I've made some poor choices in my life.
You're a good man, dude.
For whatever reason, God saw value in me and said, man, son, if you'll give me your best, if you'll change the way you think, I can redeem your life. 2 years later, my brother was stolen from us in my parents' driveway. I've shared that with you. I loaded his body on the gurney. I know what it's like to hear your mama cry. I know what it's like to be just entangled in anger and rage and to have it show in your life. And I know what it's like to be in a prison of rage, and then the world telling you, I don't blame you. And I can talk about that later in another talk when we have more time. And for me to have peace now. And
it's the I don't blame you part.
Well, that's what the world tells you.
I know.
Yeah, they tell you. And you could have not blamed me all you want, but I still would have been a miserable SOB, and I would have never reached my God-given potential. When I surrendered, when I said my way sucks, I got to do something else, and I started really pursuing truth, pursuing peace, because you wait for it, it ain't going to come. You have to pursue it. God will meet you halfway. In my life, this is my testimony.
I remember when I had that moment. I get it.
And you get freed. I've been freed from the prison of anger. So I get the symptom of anger. I understand all these symptoms that plague our society. They're all symptoms. And so I just encourage people to peel the onion back, ask questions,
You have
research.
been listening to the
Don't
Doc
rely
Owen
on
Show.
Twitter or
Thank
Facebook.
you so much for having us. We really appreciate it. Now go out there this week and take care, pay attention, and God bless.
Bye-bye, folks. God bless.